There are days when I feel the best of me is waiting to begin. Then there's days when I feel of letting go, soaring on the wind. 'Cause I've learned to roar in pain, how to survive. I get on my knees. I get on my knees. There I am before the love that changes me. See, I don't know how, but there's power when I'm on my knees. I can be in the crowd or by myself, almost anywhere. When I feel there's a need to talk to God, He is Emmanuel. When I close my eyes, no darkness there, there's only light. I get on my knees. I get on my knees. There I am before the love that changes me. See, I don't know how, but there's power when I'm on my. Oh, when I'm on my. When I'm on my knees, I get on my knees. I get on my knees. There I am before the love that changes me. See, I don't know how, but there's power when I'm on my knees. When I'm on my knees.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Judith Sheely, and this is Just Saying Going on a Different Route. Now, we are going to be talking to these three beautiful ladies. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so these three beautiful ladies have accepted the calling to speak about their ordeals that they have been in. So Just Saying is going a different route. The Lord has asked me to do this, and I am doing it because there's someone out there who does need to be rescued. And while we're sending this video out, someone is going to be rescued. More than one person's. So this is the reason why we are going YouTube. We're going viral and whatever needs to be done, because domestic violence is real. And we need to talk about it. Even though we have a month that we shared with different things, this month is one of the months where we're very big on domestic violence. So you guys might know me from 1680 and going live. So now it's a different platform. And I'll give a little commercial. I am the owner of Lion of Judah Academy, which is from kindergarten to 12th grade. And I am also the director for God's Little Lambs Learning Center. and many more things, but those are the two most important things. So today we're going to have a dialogue about domestic violence. And I am going to ask each of the ladies to introduce themselves so we can continue with this dialogue in order to help someone to be free. All right, first we'll introduce ourselves and then we will get into the dialogue.
My name is Lisa Alexander, and thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
My name is Eve, and I'm happy to be here.
Renessa Oyubanji.
All right, so we have these ladies that is just been through enough. And I am so happy that you guys have decided to take this platform in order to tell your stories. And we're telling this story because we know that someone can be saved from what we're doing. So you guys have went through this story, this ordeal. It's a very much of an ordeal, and be aware now that domestic violence is not just female.
Mm-hmm.
There is also male who is going through this domestic violence. So let's start with Miss Lisa, and we will just have her just talk to you guys and just tell you her story, how you became, how it started to happen, and after it started to happen, the ordeal between it, just a tidbit, and also how did you survive? How did you get out of this? How did you decide that enough is enough? Because I know you did not just wake up one morning and says, okay, I'm going to leave. You tried many times before. But how? So start telling us from the beginning of your story of how this started.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having the platform, because a lot of people won't talk about it. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people there longer, is because people don't talk about it. I met my abuser when I was 19 years old, and I instantly fell in love. It was the first love of my life. No one could really tell me anything. And we got married when I was 23. We met in the church. So as a lot of people think, the location has something to do with the person, which is not necessarily true, of course. We got married at 23, and I didn't really see, there was no physical abuse at that time. There were some controlling things that I saw, but at that moment, I wasn't educated enough to know that they were controlling behaviors,
Right.
where I went, who I talked to, how I dressed, how long I was gone.
Wow.
And so after we got married, I started to see a lot of these things. He would take my phone and break my phone, and
Wow.
a lot of verbal abuse. There was even a time, it's so funny, that we were living in our parents, their attachment of their garage, and the abuse was going on in their home, and they would never have known it, because if you knocked on the door, I opened the door, I would never have said what was going on, because I loved my husband and I wanted to protect him. And so it went on for a long time, and that was even just like pinning me down or holding me down or locking me in the room. A lot of verbal abuse, emotional abuse. And it didn't get physical until I got pregnant with our daughter a few years later. And that's when the physical violence started. And statistics say that when a woman becomes pregnant, the likelihood of domestic violence starting or increasing happens when a woman becomes pregnant. And so literally that's the first time he actually put fists to body at that point.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I remember just being pregnant with my daughter, literally wanting to die because I couldn't understand the pain that I was experiencing. But I have a family, I have a baby, I have a husband, I'm a Christian, and I was really struggling with the whole, what do I do? And at that point, I still didn't know that it was domestic violence. I just knew it hurt. And my parents have been married for 50 years this year. And so I grew up in a loving home. I didn't see abuse, but I didn't know what abuse was.
Right.
And again, that's why the awareness part is so important. So after I had my daughter, I stayed throughout that whole pregnancy. After I had my daughter, 4 months later, I got pregnant with my son. And I cried for 2 weeks before I even told him, because I couldn't believe that I'm stuck. There's no way I can get anywhere. 2 little babies. And he already had told me that no one will want me. And what happens initially is that verbal abuse starts to chip at your self-esteem, your thought process. Like literally, and it sounds funny, but literally it's not. He could tell me that the sky was green and I would believe him. I see that it's blue.
Wow.
But he said it was green and I would believe him. So that's how much of the
Lord.
brainwashing happens. And so I endured more abuse throughout the entire time. That's a little bit of snippet of it. And what happened was it got worse. And I tell people this all the time. Domestic violence gets worse, not better. And so when before it would just be locking me in the room or pinning me down, it turned into physical assaults,
My Lord.
sexual violence, things like that where there was off limits. There wasn't anything. At this point, I was protecting his secret for so long that he literally, it's like licensed to kind of do anything because he knew I loved him and he knew I wanted to protect our relationship.
1 second. You said sexual violence. You're married.
Yes.
This is your husband.
Now, let me tell you how people do not believe that rape can happen in a marriage, and that's something that you really have to teach. Because yes, we're married, we belong to each other,
Right.
but you don't have the right to violate me. And I remember him saying, "You're my wife, you have to," And so in my head, well, of course I have to, not realizing the violation that was happening to my own body.
Jesus.
And so I'm so glad you said that because people don't see it. Well, you're married. Yeah, the violation can still happen. And so to kind of fast forward a little bit, I was Googling and trying to figure out what I was in because it just came to the point where I would leave. So I left so many times. I left probably, I think the average is like 7 or 9 times a woman would leave before she leaves for good.
Wow.
So it's not surprising if you see somebody leave and come back, leave and come back. I would get on planes and leave and come back and still be with him.
Wow.
And so from covering up black eyes to holes in walls to bruises.
Jesus.
Eventually, I actually found Harbor House of Central Florida, which is located here in Orlando, and reached out to them and they put me in their outreach program and I got assistance that way. But let me go back and say that the night that I ended up leaving, he had left us, we got in an argument. And I saw a woman on YouTube in a setting similar to this. And she was talking, it was a one-on-one conversation with her and a gentleman, and she was sharing her story about how she found the strength to leave, that she got divorced and there was love after, and she was living this life. And I remember looking at the computer like, wait a minute. It was like a light bulb that said, there's life after abuse. And I had never thought that there was. I literally thought this was my life for the rest of my life. And that moment, which could be your moment, side note, it could be your moment, is watching this. And I packed up my children that night in the car and I left. I never went back to that home. Like literally, I remember just seeing their little faces in the back seat because I had packed anything that I could and I left a note on the counter and I was gone. And now don't get me wrong. Your marriage isn't over at that point. You don't get over them at that point. There's a lot of processing that you go through, wanting to save your marriage, wanting to keep your family together.
Whew.
But that woman that day, and I don't know who she is, I don't even know if I can find that video again, but that moment changed my life. And so I left at that point, and Harbor House was instrumental in helping me get back on my feet. I went through counseling, was able to, get back on my feet again. Went back to school. So that it kind of goes from there. So that's a little bit of my story.
So you never went back after that one?
I never physically went back and lived with him, but I did try to save my marriage, and that's people need to know that because it's true. You don't want your marriage to be over. You don't want you want them to get help. Yeah. And so my thing to him was always, if you get help, I'll stay with you forever. That's the vow that I made.
can fix him.
Yeah. The misconception is we can fix it. But I told him, if you even admit that you have a problem and get help, I'll stay with you forever, because I believed in marriage and no divorce.
Right.
And I eventually learned that God loves me more than he hates divorce.
Amen.
Because you grow up hearing God hates divorce, he hates divorce.
Yes.
You come from a home whose parents have been together for 50 years, you don't divorce.
Yes.
But I knew that he was going to kill me. It wasn't if, it was when. Whether intentionally or unintentionally. And so I always remember I never wanted anybody else to raise my children. And so thank God I'm raising them today, but that's because of the choice and the strength to leave and people who supported me and pushed me along the way. So.
Wow. Powerful. So right next door to right where your parents are living.
Yeah, we live right behind the next door. And then
God.
I would open the door and smile and say whatever they asked me and never tell them what was going on. I only told my family when I got divorced. And you should have seen their faces. I had to go through a season of, really? Is that true? Did that really happen? And sometimes it's really lonely. Yeah. It can be a really lonely and painful journey. But this is my thing. I tell people, you have to go through the tunnel to get to the other side. Don't quit here, because you're almost to the end and there's life after.
Continue.
And so I did. I went back and got my bachelor's, my master's, my doctorate. Yeah, I'm doing my dissertation now on domestic violence. I got remarried to my honey, and we had a baby girl. And so, I speed through that to say, you see that tunnel? You got to go through it to get to the other side. And I would never have thought that love, pure, whole, healthy love existed if I hadn't had the strength to leave. So.
Wow. I tell you, that was a powerful, powerful testimony of what went on in her life. But what she did, she pressed towards the prize of the mark of the high calling. She continued to go through in spite of not having anyone to back her up. So you might be in this situation right now that you're feeling that my back is against the wall. Nobody loves me, like she said. Nobody's going to take me with two children now because here I go with a second one. Nobody's going to take me. Don't believe that lie. Because you serve a God that will and always love you. You just give him your heart and give him yourself, and he will continue to love you circumspectly. He will love you no matter what. So know that God, that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay? Know that you are. And now we are going to our second person, Miss Eve. But first, I wanted to give you a scripture. Jeremiah 29:11. Even while Sister Lisa was going through, she knew Jeremiah 29:11 because she knew the plans that God has for her because she was already in the church. So she knew what was the plan for that. And we also wanted to do Genesis 50 verse 20. You might mean it for evil. But I'm telling you right now, and I'm just paraphrasing it, you can go and look at it. Genesis 50, verse 20. That you might meant it for evil what you're doing to me. But God can turn that situation around. Yes. Look what he did. Yes. And just before I go to Eve, I wanted to let you know that Sister Lisa, out of that pain, she has birthed a ministry. So we're going to give you some numbers, but out of that pain, she birthed a ministry for women like herself. So now I will introduce Eve, and she will begin to tell you her story.
Hi, my name is Eve. Hi, my name is Eve, and my story is domestic violence affects my life at a very young age. Because it was done to me in home by my parents, by my mom, I must say. And because of that, it affected my entire adulthood. I thought it was normal getting abused. I said I'll never get married because of things that I went through. And someone that my mom trusted took my innocence. And with my mom telling me I'll never be anything, I'm nothing, I'm no good, I'm just like my father, all those words. When my innocence was taken, I was nothing, and I became nothing, and because I became nothing, I accepted everything that came my way, and so abuse was normal to me. So domestic violence for me has been all my life, and I'm here to tell. I don't want to like go into the details because I don't want to cry, but it's been from my childhood till my 41 years. And because of that, I realized this time when I turned my back and walked out the door, it was the strength of God, the faith of God that took me out of this situation. And it was only him, because I didn't look back. I took my daughter and I left.
Wow. So after you started from childhood and you have been feeling those abuse, been just going and going and going. And so when you decided that now I want a relationship with the opposite sex, you found an abuser, another abuser.
Yes, because it was normal.
It was normal to you. Mm-hmm. So you just took the abuse and, finally you just stayed and stayed. And have you left that abusive situation before?
Yes, I've left, and it's just, it's like things that you're comfy with, It's just normal to you.
So you went back because it was a comfort zone.
Yes.
You felt that you're not complete unless you went back to that situation
Yes.
with that individual that was continue abusing you, even though now you're an adult.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you went back, did it get better or for a moment
No,
or
it's never better. It's just it's you're used to it. So you just adopt, At least it's you stay because at least you know what you're going to look out for, you know. You know what he's gonna do, so you prepare
Right.
yourself for it. It's like you're
Right.
preparing yourself for a storm. You know what's gonna happen. The roof is gonna blow off and all that stuff. So you prepare yourself. So it's better to just stay with what you know, the norm.
Right. So now that you have left completely, and has the person been ever tried to reach back out to you, and or you just cut it and
I just
walked?
walked out the door.
Right. So when you came to a certain place, you seek out. How did you know? Okay, well this time I'm not going back. So what you gonna do now? You have a child, and how is that child going to, eat? How is that child going to be taken care of now that you don't have that provider anymore that is supposed to be the person that is there by your side to help you, even though he was abusing you? You were comfortable and you ate, you sleep, you have cover over your head, roof over your head, you have clothes on your back. So now, did you thought it out that how you're going to clothe yourself, feed yourself now and your baby?
No, I didn't figure out how I was gonna do that because I just wanted out. But I knew one thing. I didn't want anyone but God. I didn't even want my daughter. And that's my child. I just wanted God at this point in my life. And because I wanted God, I stepped out in faith. That's what I did. Because at this point, God waited for me and he was calling. He was like, sister, daughter, it's time. So because I stepped out in faith, everything, it was him all along just protecting me. I could have, yes,
It's
he
okay.
was there protecting me, watching over me, just, he was there. And I stepped out in faith. And so there was no looking back. When you step out in faith, there's no looking back. There's no looking back. And that's what happened. And by the grace of God, I'm still here. I'm still alive. And I'm still blessed.
So, well, faith, even though you was in the faith already and was going on, you still, faith is still part of your norm. And what you're telling me also is faith.
Yes.
Could you have done it without the Lord?
Oh no, I would have been dead. Yeah, I couldn't. I stay alive because of my faith. Yeah, because when you're in the midst of it, it's like a living hell. So yeah, definitely.
Could you have done it without deciding to give God your all?
No, I couldn't have done it without the Lord. I realized all this time, it seemed, the song, I'm surrounded, I'm surrounded. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. I realized all this time, not wanted to be married, not wanted to be a virtuous woman was the plan of the enemy, and because of that, I pulled through. Now he done got, my father has lifted my standard. I'm a virtuous woman. That's who I am.
Jesus.
And because
That's
I'm
what
a
I'm talking
virtuous
about.
woman, not anyone can just look at me. Because it was God. God stepped in. He stepped in, and he had to step in because it was his time to step in.
Jesus. Oh my God. That just gives me goosebumps when I think about, God, just how he orchestrates stuff And even though it seems like, where is God in the midst? Because I know you guys had asked those questions. Where were you, God, when I was being punched? Where were you? You know, so did you guys ever come to the point where you just said, God forget you? Now, let's be honest now. Was that ever a moment that you felt that way, that God has abandoned you? He has just left you out in the street to be tossed out like yesterday
Not for
trash?
No.
No, not for
Wow, I
me.
like that.
No,
That's faith.
No,
That's faith.
not for
Because
me.
Judah would have been like, well, you know what? I think you don't forgot about me.
Yeah, I mean, you do think that. You think,
Yeah.
well, what about me? Why do I have to go through this?
Yes.
What else can I do? But
Yeah.
no. It's the only thing that you held on to.
Wow, that's faith. Oh, that is something else. So thank you, ladies, very much. All righty. So now, thank the Lord for these ladies that has really enlightened me a little bit more. I know, God, you gave me a lot of it, but thank you very much. I just want you to remember, while we're coming to the next young lady with helping you to go through, this has been brought to you because of Lion of Judah Academy, which is located at 1056 North Pine Hills Road. And the platform he gives me in order to be able to do what I need to do. And, you know, dealing with parents all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade. I started off going just to 5th grade. And then he says, well, why are you stopping here? And I'm like, well, why am I going there? And come to just find out that there is so many different aspects. It's not just a school. It is more of a ministry that I have. And with my surroundings, employees, it's a ministry that we have. And I really thank God for those ladies who have supported me. And, you know, this is not part of it, but my children who has been supporting me in my endeavor, the crazy things that I just come up with. They think I'm nuts, but it is what God has given me, and he gives it to me. So I just want to say, you know, just thank them for all of that. My daughter, which sang earlier, that's my daughter, my songbird. And, you know, my son who is doing this video. But I just want to let them know in this platform that I thank them that we went through what we went through, and they just sail across the sunset, and God is just doing what he does. I thank the Lord for that. I have just been so, I don't know the word to use, with the testimonies that we have been listening to. Know that you can get out of any situation. And as you heard those two ladies that says God was their main source of getting out of this situation. You might not even think that you're in a domestic violence situation. You might think it's the norm because you were raised with that kind of background. But no one has a right to put their hands on you. Yes, I'm sorry. No, you're not sorry, because they're going to do it again. So know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Know that you are a royal priesthood. Know that God created you he created us. He made man, but he formed us just right. So we are the apple of his eye. Eve was what he created for Adam. So if you created something, are you going to abuse it? No. If you ask your creator for bread, would he give you a serpent? If you ask him for a drink, would he give you blood instead of water? No. So you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You belongs to God. You are his creation. The creator created you, so you do not have to go through this. So let nobody tells you any different, that you are a piece of trash, that you are something that we stomp on the ground, that you are nobody, you're insignificant. Let nobody tells you that. So before we listened to our third guest, we have some scriptures that we want to resonate in your mind. First, it is going to be John 10:10. Listen to that scripture because it is giving you some example. Can you please?
The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it in the full.
Alrighty. So that is another version. But the King James Version tell you that the thief come to kill you, to steal from you. That's to steal your soul. That's to steal what you have inside. And he just don't want you around. That's what he comes to do. But God came to give you life and give it to you more abundantly. So I want you to know that John 10:10, you're important to God. And just know that you are important to God. Next scripture, Psalms 139, verse 14.
I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well.
You praise God because you are fearfully and wonderfully made. He, as I said before, he made you into his image. God has a plan for your life. Do not let the enemy steal your life. So now we're going to hear from the third lady on the platform, Miss Powerhouse, Bungie. You're going to hear from the prophet of God right now. So I want you just to listen because there is a message in there for you. And that will help you to get out of your situation. All right, prophetess.
Okay.
Let's have it. How did you get involved
Oh my.
in abuse?
I'm going to try to start from an area and then try to come up a little bit.
Okay.
The only girl in my family for 30 years, all brothers. I was very spoiled. I didn't know anything concerning abuse. I was always sheltered. I was not educated from the home either concerning abuse. It wasn't with the first child. It wasn't with the second child. It was with the twins, the third pregnancy. That is when I ended up moving out of the house because he was a professional athlete. So I had to stay home where I had help with the first two. So by the time the third one, he's out, able to be home-based, and I move out. Well, remember being sheltered, I didn't know too much about cooking. I was spoiled. I didn't know too much about
now.
all of these things.
Now.
And these were things that I know that were also put into his mind setting and told by his family members, oh, she should be doing this and she should be doing that. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
Okay, defiant.
Yeah. And so I can remember him being, I can tell when he has been told a certain thing because he would act a certain way. There was more family visiting and all of this, and I'm like, oh, here we go. They wouldn't say it in front of me, but I can, you can tell when people are talking and the signals that they give. And he began to come and attack me verbally first.
Verbal abuse.
The verbal abuse. And my self-esteem began to get lower. To the point where I didn't want to go out, different places. I stopped fixing myself up. I stopped putting on the makeup. Because you go to feeling useless, unvaluable.
Jesus.
All of these things play a part. And so after a while, the bigger I got with the pregnancy, then the pushing, the shoving, and people come around and you're trying to smile like everything is okay. And then as soon as they leave, I saw this person looking at you. Why were you looking back at them? And
Wow.
all of this, and I'm like, you know what? This is not normal. But I believe it's going to be okay. Because then you have to go back and there's other people in your family that would say, well, we told you don't date him anyway. And so you don't want to face that.
Oh, no.
I told you so.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Oh, no.
Especially when you're coming from these type of people. So I started hiding it. But the more, it seems like the more I hid, the more aggressive he became.
Oh.
The more when I say aggressive, I would have to call the cops and say, oh, well, somebody tried to break in my house, because he would bust the windows out. He would steal money. You don't need that. Because my family was able to give me certain things. You don't need that. Give that here. You know. And your mom would be like, well, I thought you were going to, didn't I give you money to buy it? Why didn't you get it? And I had to make up a lie or an excuse because he had taken that. Then it began to where he would take jewelry. Oh, yeah, all this type of stuff. Go punt it and use money to go party and all of this type of thing. Wow. And I was still quiet. Because like you say, you think that you're in love when you're honestly in lust. I didn't know anything about having a boyfriend or being connected in that way. Even like I said, when I was at home, I didn't really have to take care of the first two babies because mom was doing everything. I was still uneducated. Mm-hmm. It got to the point where I can remember, and I shared this with you the other day, I think I was about 8 months pregnant. And by him being a professional boxer, you know, he's strong, he's mighty. So one blow could literally take you out. I can remember it, and it's only God that kept me living. Him pinning me on the ground and putting his knees in both arms and literally just punching me in my face until my eyes were just like big and almost coming out of the socket. And I hid myself. I wouldn't answer the phone for my mom. I wouldn't answer for anyone. And I literally said that night, I said, you know what? I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself. I said, because I don't see where this is going. I can't go tell them because I told you so.
I told you so.
You know, so you find your place in this solitude where the enemy can really talk to you. Go ahead and take yourself out. You're not worth anything. Nobody cares about you anyway. And I said, I'm gonna take my life. And then I said, no, I'm just gonna get the kids to leave. But it got to a point where every time he would beat me, he would take the kids, and a lot of times he would be drunk or under some form of influence. I didn't even know anything about drugs and alcohol back then. He would take the kids and go lay in the bed and have both of them held on to him and sleep. So I would, because he knew I was not going to leave my children. And I remember one night I said, I'm going to go ahead and kill myself. And I heard the Spirit speak and say, I will not allow you to take your life. And I remember the next day he left, but I know that my mom she know mother's instincts. She knows that something is going on. And she kept coming to the house and I would not answer the door. I would not answer the door, but I wanted help. But at this point, I just couldn't go to her for it. I needed somewhere else. I didn't want her to see this because remember, I told you so. I didn't want her to see me big pregnant. You got two kids here in diapers, and then this. Come on, man. I told you so. No, not
and
this.
You know we're going to say it.
Right? Yeah.
You know we're going to say that.
Oh, I tell you something. No. So what she did, she sent my godmother. And my godmother, I remember I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a relief. The next day, I opened the door for my godmother, and my mom stepped from around. She said, I knew it. She said, I knew. That I knew. And in that week, and when you say love, oh, that's a whole nother level of the way that you feel for them. Because you get over, you get over into dodging with the sex from them, the lustful things, the things that we're taught and the way it makes you feel, and people don't really tell the truth concerning that, but it's true. These are the things that you want and you will miss them. I said, you know what? I don't have to leave for me. I have to leave for my children. And if he could do me the way that he did that night, and it plays in my mind over and over sometime, and I just give God the glory. Because I don't even remember when I woke up. Jesus. I don't remember. He could have took me out and my children in my belly at that time. If he's able and has the anger in him to do me like that, he'll kill me. He will kill me.
What was the enemy plan?
Yeah, he will kill me. And I said that night, when I can remember seeing, looking up at him, it was not him. That wasn't him. That wasn't the man that I knew. He had totally turned into something or somebody else. Wow. This is not the man that I had children from. This is not the man that I have known for 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
You know, and you would be surprised at the people that would play into what he was doing. And then you go back and you find out, well, this is the way his dad did his mom.
Ah, glory.
So it was a cycle.
It was a cycle.
And I remember telling God, I said, God, I don't want years later, because when I left, that's when I began to prosper with the singing and the ministering. And because as a child, we all knew that I was that, you know, but I let it all go for him,
For him.
you know.
The love of your life.
Oh my gosh. God, I thank you. God is the love of my life. That was the lust of my life. But I remember years later when he got sick, I got a call and they said that he was on kidney dialysis. And I had already been praying for him, and I was saying, God, I don't want to hate this man. Please take it out of me, because you can't use me with hatred in me. I want to be able and fitting for your use. And God allowed me to go to the hospital and pray over him. And to see him there in that fetal position, helpless, gave me a whole nother form of love for him. A whole nother form of love.
Was it love enough to go back to him if he had survived everything?
No, he survived. No, it wasn't. And he did survive and died later.
Okay.
But no, because I saw that not only was he never going to change, but he didn't want to.
So the enemy had a stronghold on him.
Stronghold, generational curse.
And he was not willing to realize that it was generational, and you have to burn that thing from the
root. And I also think that, you know, being under other elders like his father and uncles that did the same thing, that maybe he even felt that they would look down on him if he didn't be that powerhouse or that controlling type person.
Wow. So, alrighty. So these stories have been magnified. It has been lumifying. There's a word like that. It has been awesome with the stories that you guys have been telling me and telling our audience. And I just want to ask a couple questions that they might be asking. I can't leave, like I said before, because I don't have any way of supporting myself. So when you were thinking of what you were doing, and that goes for each of you guys, that you were ready to take your flight and go, finally, your thoughts in your head about your support, because remember I talked to her a little bit about it. I just want to get you guys' answer about that. You two answers about that, how you felt. What were you going to do?
Well, I think she made a really good point with stepping out on faith, because the truth is you can prepare all day and still never be prepared. And statistics say when a woman leaves a domestic violence relationship, or a man, that it's the most dangerous time for them. So the fact is, you may not be fully prepared, but sometimes you have to run out with no shoes on your feet. It all depends. You have to be willing to take the risk to save your life and the life of your children. It's not going to be perfect. We'd love to have a blueprint planned out, but it doesn't always work like that. But we trust God to believe that He's going to orchestrate everything and put everything in place. People in your life that can help you. And literally, I hear that in all of our stories, that He put people in our place to help us. So
now, they're not saved. So what do they do? A couple seconds. They don't know God. How are we going to tell them about this God that they don't even know anything about?
And that is very, very important. I always tell people, listen, when you see the hotlines, when you see people in church, when you see the elders, when you see the mothers, when you just see people walking around, I believe that God gives every individual an opportunity to reach out. You just have to have faith to take that step. I believe that He will send someone, and we may say, I'm not going to do it today, but God has given you that person. Everyone knows somebody that they can go to. They just have to be willing to say, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice it. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I'm going to go.
Alrighty, so what she's telling us, right, that we can just depend upon the strength that we, some people say higher power. I don't say higher power. My higher power is Jesus because he died on the cross for us.
Yes.
So now, no, I don't know God, but just a thought for me. I don't know a God, but I know the God. So when you're feeling that way and you're in that situation right now, get on your knees according to the song that was just sung. I get on my knees. Even in the midst of not knowing God, I'm an atheist and I don't believe in God, but I believe in something. The sun, the moon, the star. Who made the sun? Who made the star? Somebody had to make it. It wasn't evolution that made that. Somebody had to make it. So let me believe in that something that made the sun, the moon, and the star, because I know every morning I get up, the sun is out. Every night before I go to bed, it's dark or the moon is bright. So let me talk to the person that made that. So somebody made it. It didn't just come by itself. So, what is your thought on that? Just a couple seconds. You thought about, I'm not safe.
Well, honestly, to be honest with you, there's hotlines, there's people you can call, the different shelters in the different counties. And there was this one clip that millions of people have seen it on Facebook, because a lady went into a dog shelter with a guy who had been abusing her for the whole weekend, torturing her. And she slid a note. She wrote a note, please call the police, I need help. And she slid it to the veterinarians at the hospital she said, please don't let him know.
Yeah.
And they were able to call the police. They didn't, he never found out all the details of what happened behind the scenes.
He had a gun on him
He had a gun on him and been torturing her all weekend. And so the thing is, whether you go into a grocery store, you see a police officer, you see someone that can help you in that moment, reach out.
You have an outlet. Now, there are some numbers. Get your pen and paper that we're going to give you, that you can call if you ever find yourself in this situation, and you can get to a phone some kind of way. Use these numbers, please. They're very helpful. So Sister Lisa is going to give you some numbers. Jot them down in your brain, because you might cannot write it down. Just play this. I'm watching YouTube. Just play it over again and get the numbers and call, okay?
And also,
so here are the numbers.
All of the places I'm going to give you, they also have a website. And if on the top right corner, usually on the top right corner is an exit button. And if you click on that button and exit out of the website, there will be no history that you were actually on that site. So there's a way that you can be looking and getting answers to your questions. Find answers as well. So Harbor House of Central Florida.
Awesome.
407-886-2856. Help Now, that's for Orange County. Help Now is in Kissimmee. 407-847-3286. Safe House of Seminole County. 407-330-3933. And if you're watching and you're not in the Central Florida area, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-787-3224. And please remember that all of those numbers are confidential, and they will keep your information private.
Remember that you can always push that button, exit out, when you go on the website, and no one can ever tell that you was on your phone looking up at that. So now I want you to make sure that you remember. So ladies, I really thank you for just an awesome job. Is there anything that we missed that you said, oh, I forgot to say this, that you would like to inform our young ladies or young man or old man about abuse?
Yes. Last night while I was getting ready for bed, I was actually at work, and I started to play the song "Have Your Way, Lord." Remove whatever it's not in me, in you. Remove it away from me. And under that video, I decided to write underneath, and I said, Lord, please remove everyone out of my life that does not belong in my life at this point in my life, because I'm serving you now. And I got home in the morning, and the first phone call I got was from a female that I was staying at the Arbor House with. And I asked God to remove her from me. And it was by fate that what I've learned from that, her calling me, was God telling me, no, I can't remove her from your life. She needs you.
Jesus.
She needs you. And that was my message, because she said, I'm back with him. And I was like,
Jesus.
what? And she was like, yeah. I said, you're back with the man that picked up the phone and lied and said, she's stabbing me. She's stabbing me. You're back with him?
Oh, my God.
And she said, yes.
Mm.
She said, yes. It's time for you to walk out that door.
My God.
Walk out that door. Walk out. Step out in faith. When I was in the world, I was walking past a psychic. Now this is amazing. I was walking past a psychic. When I walked in there, she opened the door behind me. She said, "You've been here before." I said, "No, I haven't." She said, "Well, it seems like you've been here. I know I feel you've been here." She said this. And you know what she said to me? She said, "Do you believe in God?" I said, "Well, I don't know what to believe." She said, you have to believe in something. And that's from a psychic.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what the psychic said. You have to believe in something.
In something.
Yes, and that's coming from a psychic.
Anyone else?
I would say to everyone that abuse is not normal. Being tormented by words, being talked to any type of way, being used, whatever form of abuse it is not normal. And you have to make a decision to live your best life. And the best way that you're going to do that is to come out.
Amen.
You have to make up your mind that today is going to be the last day. Because that day can be your last living day.
Oh, my God.
No more excuses. Think about your children if you have children. If you don't, think about you. You may not be valuable to your abuser, but you are valuable to God. And you need to know the value of your life. There is a calling upon you. There's something that God has for you to do. If there was not, the enemy wouldn't be coming after you the way that he is. You wouldn't be being tortured and tormented.
Jesus.
So make up your mind today.
I'm sorry. I would
Yes,
like to just
go
say
ahead.
one thing real quick. And I know some people try to minimize verbal and emotional and psychological abuse. But let me tell you, nothing will make you lose your mind quicker than
verbal.
being tormented verbally.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so remember
God,
that
yes.
there's verbal, emotional, sexual, financial, and physical domestic
Wow.
violence. And so we don't minimize just because you're not getting thrown around or punched in the face doesn't mean that you're not experiencing domestic violence. So there's not one that's greater than the other. Domestic violence is domestic violence. And so that's just as serious.
Yes.
So you don't deserve to get cursed out and called out your name.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an emergency, and you deserve to get help
That's
for that
it.
as well.
It is amazing that she said that, because that was just going to be my next comment. To remind you that not because you're not getting physically punched, verbal abuse is worst. It's horrible. So if you feel that you're being verbal abused, get out of the situation. Get out of it. I know, pray God will relieve you of all of this. You just say, God, you did not make this wonderful body to be abused by verbally, mentally, giving me a mental block because you're abusing me. Just know that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalms 23. I think we all should recite that one. The Lord is my shepherd.
I
shall not
want.
He
Maketh
Make
me
it
to
to
lie
lie
down
down
in
in green pastures.
He
leadeth
restored
me
beside the still waters.
He restores my
He
soul.
restoreth
my
my
soul.
soul.
He
Leadeth
leadeth me in the paths of righteousness
For
name's
his
name's
name's sake.
Yea,
Yea, though I walk
through the valley of the shadow of death,
I
shall fear no
for
evil.
to yourself
I
will
will
fear
fear
no
no evil.
For thou
thou
art
art
with
with
me.
me,
Thy
His
rod
rod,
and his staff,
they
They
comfort
comfort
me.
thou preparest
prepares
a
a
table
table
before me
in the
Here's
the
presence
table.
of my
in
enemies.
front
His
of my
blood, pure.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
He will prepare a
Yes,
table before you.
In the,
In the
presence,
presence of
of
your
my
enemies.
enemies.
And anoint thy head with
Oil.
oil.
Your
My cup runneth over.
runneth over.
And surely
Come on.
Surely goodness
Surely.
and mercy
Goodness
shall
follow
follow
us
me.
and mercy.
all the days of our life.
So all the days of your
my
life,
And
goodness
Dwell in the house of the Lord.
and mercy will follow you. So you
That's
will
right.
dwell
In the
in
house of
his
the Lord.
house.
Right.
We don't want you to go
Amen.
in his house in a body bag before it's
Jesus.
your time.
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
But we want you to go in his house when it's time.
Hallelujah.
Protect your children. They cannot protect themselves. Protect you because you need to protect your children. God will watch over you. So just as I tell you before, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Jesus loves you and he wants you to be the best that you can be. Tell somebody. Tell somebody. I need help.
Yes.
Now. I am in danger.
Reach out.
Help me. And those numbers, reach out to one of them. Don't go back. Don't look back. Don't be like Sodom and Gomorrah when Lot's wife turned around and looked back. Run for your life and make it to the other side without turning back. Because you do not want to be turned into a pillar of salt. Trust God and know that he is your provider and he will provide for you. I want you to stay encouraged. You need me, my phone number will be down at the bottom. And we're here. Lion of Judah is here as a community, as a village. And you're welcome into our village. From kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. And your children is in a safe learning environment. Spiritually filled. The word is being taught into them. Amen. To let them not be the one that either be the abuser or the abusee. We're here for you. Call us. We are here for you. And I'm not just saying that. We're not just a regular school. And if you so see fit that you have a donation that you would like to donate to Lion of Judah, we are a 501(c) company and we do take the donations. And parents come to us, they need help to pay the light bill, they need help to do whatever they need to do in order to get themselves together. We will help them. The children need help. We're dressed in uniform at the school and we will help to buy uniforms. But we do need your help because we do need to keep this going. And just so go on our website at Lion of Judah of Orlando, and also we will put our Facebook page down at the bottom of the screen. Get in touch with us anytime. And we do take scholarships. Just reach out to us. And remember, stay safe and know that Jesus loves them. And so do we. Thank you.